Have you ever paused to consider what it truly means to receive a gift beyond words? In 2 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 15, the Apostle Paul speaks of an unspeakable gift, pointing us to the immeasurable grace we find in Christ. This is more than a momentary feeling of gratitude, it's an invitation to a new way of life. Think for a moment about your daily routine. We often hurry from one task to another, tackling to-do lists and handling urgent demands. Yet, in the midst of it all, we might overlook the simplest truth. We've already been given the greatest treasure imaginable. Paul reminds us that the love of God, demonstrated through Jesus, exceeds our human understanding. It's a gift that, as Paul says, defies description. This gift naturally stirs gratitude. When we realize how precious it is to be loved and forgiven by an infinite Creator, our hearts overflow with thankfulness. Gratitude then becomes the gateway to generosity. After all, the reason we can give so freely is because we, ourselves, have already received. Our small acts of service, whether it's sharing food with a neighbor, offering a comforting word, or spending time listening to a friend, flow from the wellspring of divine love that has been poured into our hearts. So how does this unspeakable gift shape our daily lives? First, it changes our perspective. When we remember that the ultimate measure of our worth is not in achievements, wealth, or recognition, but in God's unchanging love, we begin to see beyond our limitations. Second, it draws us together as a community. Like the early church gathering contributions for believers in need, our willingness to give leads to unity and strengthens our bond in faith. Finally, it reminds us that life is not about scarcity but abundance. The more we share what we have, time, talents, or resources, the more we realize how richly we have been blessed. In a world that encourages us to chase after the next best thing, God's gift reorients our hearts toward contentment and compassion. It lifts us out of self-centered pursuits and places us into a vast, divine narrative of grace and redemption. Every act of kindness becomes a living testimony of Christ's love, turning ordinary moments into glimpses of the eternal. Take a quiet minute today to reflect. What are you most grateful for? In what small ways can you pass along the love you've received? Whether it's through a kind word to a coworker or a thoughtful gesture for a family member, remember that your life can be a channel of blessings to those around you. Indeed, 2 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 15 reminds us that no matter how we try to express it, God's gift of salvation is beyond words. All we can do is offer our thanks and let that gratitude transform us. May your heart be filled with the joy of giving, the peace of knowing you're loved, and the hope that the greatest gift has already been given, freely, abundantly, and for all.